Imagine a room with 100 Americans in it. Every single one of them has worked hard their entire life. Every single one of them has paid their taxes, raised their families, tried their best. Now imagine that 95 of those people, 95 out of 100, will reach the end of their working life without ever achieving genuine financial freedom. They will retire depending on Social Security or on children who can barely afford to help them. Or they will simply keep working. Because stopping is not an option. Only 5 people in that room, just 5, will reach what we can truly call real wealth. The question you need to ask yourself right now is, which group are you in? Here is the number that should stop every American in their tracks. The median retirement savings of an American household is approximately $87,000. $87,000. After 40 years of working, after 40 years of paying into Social Security, after 40 years of trying, $87,000. When financial experts agree that you need a minimum of $1.2 million US dollars to retire with any real security, $87,000 is not a retirement fund. It is a financial emergency waiting to happen. This is not happening because Americans are lazy. It is not happening because the economy is rigged against ordinary people. It is happening because of 5 specific, identifiable, completely fixable reasons that most Americans will never learn about because nobody in their school, their workplace, or their government has ever bothered to teach them. Today, that changes. In the next 8 minutes, I am going to show you exactly why 95% of Americans never reach real wealth. And more importantly, the exact path that the 5% walk that everyone else misses. Stay until reason number 3, because that is the one that makes most Americans genuinely angry when they hear it. Angry at the system. Angry at their schools. Angry at the decades of opportunity that quietly slipped past without anyone pointing out what was possible. That anger, directed correctly, is the most powerful financial motivator you will ever feel. Let's get into it. 5 reasons why 95% of Americans never reach real wealth, and exactly how the other 5% think and act differently. Before we get into the 5 reasons, let's establish exactly what we are talking about. The numbers in America right now are staggering. The top 5% of Americans own approximately 67% of all the wealth in the entire country. The bottom 50%, that is 165 million Americans, own just 2.5% of total American wealth combined. 2.5%. Between 165 million people. That is not a statistic. That is a crisis, and it is a crisis that nobody is forcing you to be part of. The retirement reality in America in 2026 is deeply troubling. The median American household has saved approximately $87,000 for retirement. Financial planners universally agree that a comfortable retirement requires at minimum $1.2 million US dollars, and realistically closer to $1.50 to $2 million, given current healthcare costs and life expectancy. The gap between what most Americans have saved and what they actually need is not a small miscalculation. It is a catastrophic shortfall that will define the quality of millions of American lives. So, what is real wealth? Because this matters. Real wealth is not just having a lot of money. Real wealth is having enough money invested in generating returns that you never have to work again unless you choose to. It is financial freedom. The point where your assets generate more income every month than your expenses require, where work becomes a choice, not a necessity, where money works for you around the clock whether you show up or not. That is the threshold the top 5% cross. And it is the threshold that 95% of Americans spend their entire lives approaching, but never quite reaching. The fundamental difference between the 5% and the 95% is not income. This is the most important thing I am going to say in this entire video, so listen carefully. The top 5% are not necessarily the highest earners. There are millions of Americans earning $300,000 a year who are effectively broke, drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck at a higher cost level, and building no lasting wealth. And there are Americans earning $60,000 a year who will retire as millionaires. The difference is not what you earn. It is what you do with what you earn. Every single time. The 95% work for money. They trade their time for a paycheck. And when they stop working, the money stops. The 5% build assets that work for them. Dividend-paying stocks that send checks every quarter. Index funds that grow silently every year. Real estate that collects rent every month. Businesses that generate revenue with or without the owner's presence. This is the foundational difference, and it leads directly to the first reason why 95% of Americans never cross the line into real wealth. Reason number 1. The time for money trap. This is the invisible prison that holds 95% of Americans in financial mediocrity their entire working lives, and most of them never even realize they are in it. The time for money trap works like this. You sell your time to an employer for a fixed rate. The employer sells the output of your time to customers for a much higher rate. The difference, the profit, belongs to the employer, not to you. You receive exactly what was agreed, and the moment you stop selling your time, the money stops completely. Think about what this means over a lifetime. The average American works approximately 40 hours per week for 50 weeks a year for 40 years. That is 80,000 hours of human life sold to employers. 80,000 hours. And at the end of those 80,000 hours, the median American has $87,000 saved. That works out to approximately $1.09 saved for every hour of their working life. $1.09 per hour of a human life. The time for money trap is the single most expensive financial mistake that 95% of Americans make, and most of them make it without ever questioning it. The solution is not to stop working. The solution is to use the income from working to build assets that generate income independently of your time. Every month, take a portion of your paycheck and buy assets. A low-cost S&P 500 index fund, dividend-paying stocks like Coca-Cola or Johnson & Johnson, a real estate investment trust. Each asset you buy becomes a tiny financial worker working for you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, completely independent of whether you show up to your job tomorrow. Build enough of these tiny financial workers, and eventually they earn more than your job does. That is the exit from the time for money trap. Reason number 2. The consumer debt prison. Right now, the average American is carrying approximately $8,000 in credit card debt at 20 to 24% interest, $20,000 in car loans, $37,000 in student loan debt, and 4 homeowners, a mortgage that consumes 30 to 40% of their monthly income. Total consumer debt in America has now crossed $17 trillion US dollars, and every single dollar of that debt has the same devastating effect on wealth building. It redirects money that could be building assets into the pockets of banks and lenders instead. Here is what debt does to wealth building in real US dollar terms. If you are paying $500 a month in credit card interest, that is $500 a month that is not going into a Roth IRA over 30 years at 8%. After return, that $500 a month would have grown to $680,000 US dollars. Your credit card debt did not just cost you the interest payments. It cost you $680,000 in future wealth. The solution is brutal but simple. Destroy your high-interest debt as fast as humanly possible using the debt avalanche method. Then redirect every dollar of those former debt payments straight into investments. The path from the debt prison to real wealth is a straight line. And it starts with the credit card scissors. Reason number 3. And this is the one I warned you would make you angry. The American education system, one of the most expensive in the world, spends 13 years teaching children algebra, literature, history, and chemistry. Subjects that are valuable, subjects that have their place. But in 13 years of mandatory education, the average American child receives approximately 0 hours of instruction on compound interest, 0 hours on how to open an investment account, 0 hours on the difference between an asset and a liability, 0 hours on tax-advantaged accounts like the Roth IRA or the 401k. 0 in 13 years. The result is that most Americans enter adulthood completely financially illiterate. They know how to solve quadratic equations, but not how to read a stock prospectus. They can name all the causes of World War I, but cannot explain the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. They understand the nitrogen cycle, but have never heard of dollar costs averaging. This is not an accident. This is a system that produces workers and consumers, not investors and wealth builders. And the top 5% either figured this out themselves or were lucky enough to have parents who taught them what schools never did. Reason number 4. Lifestyle inflation. This is the silent wealth killer that strikes every time an American gets a raise, a promotion, or a bonus. It works like this. Your income goes up, and almost immediately, your spending goes up to match it. New car, nicer apartment, better restaurants, more expensive vacations. Each upgrade feels earned. Each upgrade feels reasonable. And each upgrade quietly ensures that no matter how much more you earn, you never actually have more left over to invest. Income doubles. Lifestyle doubles. Wealth stays the same. This cycle, repeated for 40 years, is why the median American retires with $87,000 despite earning millions of dollars over their lifetime. Here is what lifestyle inflation actually costs in real US dollars. Imagine two Americans both get a $500 per month raise at age 30. Person A immediately upgrades their lifestyle, nicer car, better apartment, and spends the entire raise. Person B keeps their lifestyle exactly the same and invests the entire $500 every month. By age 60, at 8% average return, Person B has an additional $680,000 in their investment account. From one raise, one decision made at age 30. The identical salary, the identical raise, the identical 30 years. One completely different financial life. Reason number 5. Thinking too small and too short. The 95% make financial decisions based on what they need this month. This year? Maybe the next 5 years? The 5% make financial decisions based on what they are building over the next 10, 20, and 30 years. This difference in time horizon changes every single financial decision a person makes. The 95% buy a new car because the monthly payment is affordable. The 5% calculate what that car payment invested for 20 years would be worth and buy a used car instead. The 95% spend their tax refund on a vacation. The 5% invest it and take the vacation in retirement. When every day is a vacation. So how do the top 5% actually think differently? Because the gap between the 5% and the 95% is not primarily a gap in income or opportunity. It is a gap in mindset, a gap in how they see money, time, and the future. And once you understand how the 5% think, you can begin thinking the same way. Starting right now, today, with whatever income and resources you currently have, the top 5% see every dollar as a soldier, not as something to be spent, but as something to be deployed. Every dollar they earn has a job. Some dollars cover necessary expenses, some dollars build emergency reserves, but a significant portion of every dollar they receive is sent immediately to work, buying shares of great American companies, funding a Roth IRA, building assets that generate passive income. The 5% do not spend money and save what is left. They save and invest first, then live on what remains. This single reversal, this one flip of the order of operations is responsible for more American millionaires than any other single factor. Here is what this looks like in numbers that every American can understand. If you invest $500 US dollars per month, starting today, in a simple S&P 500 index fund earning the historical average of approximately 10% per year. Here is what happens. In 10 years, you have $102,000. In 20 years, $382,000. In 30 years, $1,130,000. $1,130,000 US dollars from $500 a month. No stock picking, no market timing, no financial genius required. just the discipline to send $500 to your investment account every single month before it can be spent on anything else. The 5% formula is devastatingly simple. Income minus investments equals lifestyle, not income minus lifestyle equals investments. Those two equations look almost identical, but they produce completely different financial lives over 30 years. In the first equation, investing happens first. It is non-negotiable. The lifestyle is whatever is left. In the second equation, investing happens last. It is whatever happens to remain after every other desire has been satisfied, which means it almost never happens at all. The 95% follow the second equation. The 5% follow the first. That is the entire difference. And time, above everything else, is the weapon that the top 5% use, that the 95% consistently waste. Every year of delay in starting to invest costs an enormous amount of future wealth. If you start investing $500 a month at age 25, you reach $1.13 million by age 55. Start at 35, you reach only $380,000 by 55. Start at 45, you reach just $103,000 by 55. The same $500, the same index fund, the same market. 3 completely different outcomes, determined entirely by when you decided to start. Every year of delay is not just 1 year of lost contributions. It is 1 year of compounding lost forever. Here is the exact 5-step path to joining the top 5% of American wealth builders. Not theory, not motivation. A specific, actionable, step-by-step plan that works at any income level for any American, starting from wherever you are right now. Step 1. Eliminate all high-interest consumer debt using the debt avalanche method. Pay minimums on everything. Throw every extra dollar at the highest interest rate debt first. Destroy it. Then move to the next one. Your goal is to get to zero consumer debt as fast as humanly possible. Step 2. Build a 6-month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account, paying 4 to 5% APY. Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ally Bank UFB Direct. Get 6 months of living expenses completely liquid and completely separate from your investment accounts. This fund is your financial immune system. It means you will never have to sell investments at the wrong time because of an unexpected expense. Step 3. Open a Roth IRA at Fidelity, Vanguard, or Charles Schwab. Contribute the maximum $7,000 US dollars per year in 2026. By VOO or VTI, low-cost S&P 500 index funds. Set up automatic monthly contributions. Then do not touch it. Step 4. Build at least one additional income stream. This is what separates the top 5% from everyone else more than anything else in 2026. A freelance skill sold online, a content creation channel, a small online business, real estate, even a single rental property, any additional income stream that can eventually be partially or fully automated. Every additional dollar of income that you build outside your primary job is a dollar that can be invested, accelerating your path to the top 5% dramatically. Step 5. Never stop. Never sell during a crash. Never raid your retirement accounts. Never let lifestyle inflation consume a raise before your investment account sees it first. Here is the truth about joining the top 5% that nobody tells you. It is not a dramatic event. It is not a lottery win. It is not a hot stock tip. It is a decision, a single decision made on an ordinary day to permanently change how you relate to money, to decide that from this moment forward, you invest first and live on the rest. That you build assets instead of buying liabilities. That you think in decades instead of months. That decision made today and honored consistently for 20 or 30 years is the entire difference between ending up in the 95% or the 5%. The math is clear. The path is clear. The only question is whether you will walk it. Let's bring it all together. 5 reasons why only 5% of Americans reach real wealth. Reason 1. The time for money trap. Build assets that work without your time. Reason 2. The consumer debt prison. Destroy debt, then redirect every payment to investments. Reason 3. Zero financial education from schools. Self-educate relentlessly starting today. Reason 4. Lifestyle inflation. Invest every raise before you spend it. Reason 5. Thinking too small and too short. Make every financial decision based on where you want to be in 20 years. The 5-step path. Kill debt. Build emergency fund. Max your Roth IRA. Build income streams. And never stop. Here is my challenge to every American watching this video. Right now, before this video ends, decide which group you are choosing. The 95% who will keep doing what they have always done and get what they have always gotten. Or the 5% who make a different decision today and build a completely different financial life over the next 20 years. Drop a comment below and tell me which of the 5 reasons hit closest to home for you. I read every single comment and will personally reply to as many as I can. Every good financial decision you make today, your future self will thank you for. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. If this video helped you understand why only 5% reach real wealth, hit like and share it with one American who needs to hear this today. And if you want to know the exact daily routine that Warren Buffett used to build his $130 billion fortune, that video is right here. See you there.